Sairam, Sairam, everyone. Today's topic for Chintan Manthan Manan, discussion, deliberation, and internalization is contemplation. So, what is contemplation? What are the types of contemplations? How to contemplate? Is it necessary to contemplate? Right? There are multiple sub questions. Now, to start with, what is contemplation? Contemplation is quite contrary to thinking. Thinking is very spontaneous. There are thoughts, there are flow of thoughts driven by our, let's say, contemporary realities, today's, that moments, or about the past. Even about the past, the thoughts come now, this very moment. Thoughts are a ever flowing process. Thoughts keep crossing our minds. Cause of the thoughts are several. There are thoughts which are not in our control. It is not driven by any situation. Some innate thoughts, some innate thoughts which are not relevant to the situation that we are in. And then comes the thoughts which are driven by the realities which we are faced with, and the thoughts based on our memories about the past, thoughts about the future. So there are multiple thoughts. So these thoughts which come to our mind, now these thoughts are the ones which will make us think. More often, the thoughts which make us think are disturbing, negative, which induces fear. It induces uncertainty. It induces a certain amount of anger, or even sometimes pleasure, sometimes indulgences. So everything the mind is processing based on the thoughts, and it taps into the brain, which has the memory of the past of this birth. So a lot of things, it's a chaos. So these thoughts give rise to thinking. Thinking, since we are talking about common people, we are talking about mundane lives, thinking is spontaneous, thinking is automatic. You have no control. You have no control over the thoughts. You have no control over thinking. You start thinking. Let us address this situation where our thoughts and our thinking process is adverse, negative, or more, even if it is positive, even if it is pleasant, if that finally give rise to unpleasant things. See, the pleasant realities and unpleasant realities are a wave. Unpleasant realities goes up and it comes down. Pleasant realities goes up and it comes down. It's an eternal wave. So nothing is consistent. Everything shall pass. Now, when we are disturbed with our thoughts and our thinking process, what happens? We get carried away. We make decisions which are based on our thoughts and thinking processes, which drives our emotions. It drives our decision making. Makes us feel nervous. Sometimes it makes us feel vulnerable. It makes us feel uncertain. A lot of complications will arise out of this thinking process. Now comes contemplation. Contemplation is the answer to all the chaos in our lives. When we are faced with a situation, more often we react. We are not much proactive. We are reacting to the situation, driven by a lot of confusion, emotions, feelings, thoughts, this, that, and a lot of things we do. And life goes on. Our life goes on and on and on. It becomes a pattern. It's only a pattern which consistently pushes us to think in a particular way. There are people who will say that whatever you say, they take it in negative way. Whatever you say, they take it in a adverse way. It's become a pattern. The consistent thinking, the churning that happens in the mind, it's a thought machine which keeps spinning. So pleasant, unpleasant, the waves are happening and it becomes our pattern. It also induces habits to quell the mind, to calm the mind. Oh, today I'm depressed, I'll have a drink. Today I'm very ecstatic, I'll have a drink, I'll party. This, even your actions, everything is because of that thinking and thoughts and thinking and thoughts. What is contemplation? Take a pause. Just take a pause. Let's say you are pushed to the wall. We are tired. We are tired of our own thinking. The sufferings and the pain that the thinking, which is consistently pushing us, which has become a pattern in us, we all have identified those thoughts or those patterns, and we are in an unpleasant reality. We are not happy. We are not pleasant. We are pushed to the wall. Finally, what happens is we accept as a result of helplessness. Oh, this is the way it is. This is the way, I cannot help it. This is how I think. This is how the other person thinks. This is how my situation is. This is how my realities are. You are pushed to the wall and you start giving up. You said, okay, this is my pattern. How do I deal with it? How do I do it? So then we start going out, read books, self-help, lot of practices. I mean, we start looking for, searching for a relief from, from outside. But it is so easy. It is so simple. It is absolutely a very, very soothing and a simple process. First, take a pause. Spend some time with yourself. Relax. Sit in a comfortable place. The first step for contemplation is reasoning. First step for contemplation is identifying. What's bothering me? Why am I feeling the way I am feeling? What is it that which is making me feel low, making me feel bad? First, we identify. It can be a cause, it can be anything. Or it can be a generally, okay, I'm fed up. I'm tired of this life. Had enough. Have seen enough. All these thoughts will be there. So all that we have to do is take a pause, sit down, relax, take a deep breath. You identify the cause of those negative emotions. Once you identify the cause, then we start reasoning. When we start reasoning with those situations, like for example, I am upset about something. I am stressed about somebody, the way they spoke. I have fear. I have that fear, or I have a scare. I have, oh, whatever. My health is not good. I am in pain, or this, I've been a chronic health condition, this and that. And then it's basically I'm not in a good space. So identify the reasons. When we identify the cause, then comes the reasoning. You know the reason and reason with the reasons. Very simple. I might have explained it in an elaborate way, but it is actually very simple. Just sit. What is it that bothering me? Now comes the next step, like, why is it bothering me? What's going to happen? Am I going to be scared of the future? Is it going to adversely affect my future? Realities of the future, immediate future, long term future, whatever. Fear, 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 fear. There's no problem. Fine. There is certainly it is a valid thought. But your fear is not going to answer that. Your no anxiety is not going to bring solution to that. Your fear will not bring solution to that. Your reactions, emotional upheaval or downheaval, is not going to bring any solution to that. So, what do we do? What do I do? Scared, fear, nervous, upset, hurt. Don't be. If you have made all your efforts, there is nothing more that you can do. There is no need for you to be feared. You don't have to entertain the fear and anxiety. Stay calm. The same thing that you have done, try to do in a different way. When you reason it out with your patterns, your fears and anxieties, uncertainties of the future, you will immediately find a very beautiful and an easy way out. Your contemplation begins. What are the options? Why am I feeling like this? What is the cause? When you know the cause, how do I deal with the cause? It is so simple that there is a answer and a solution for every problem in our lives. There is no problem which doesn't have an answer to. Every problem has an answer and a solution. Trust me, when we sit calm and when we start contemplating on the situation and the possible solutions to the situation, it can also be the emotional situation that we are in. I am feeling pain, I am feeling scared, I am feeling uncertain. So many things. Just reason with it. The reasoning with those situations is contemplation. Step to contemplation is always to reason. Why is it so? What is the fear? What is the uncertainty? Future is something which you don't know. Past is something which you can't do anything about. So past triggers the guilt. Past triggers the fear of the future. So you are never ever in the present state. Fearing the future and regretting the past, you're ruining the present. How do we come out of this? First, withdraw from the realities which you feel is unpleasant, scary, uncertain. Just withdraw. Stay calm. The world is not going to end if you don't think. Just stay calm. Witness it. Relax. This is the reality. How do I help it? I've done so many things. Are there more things that I can do? Trust me. When we have that clarity, when we are calm, only then the answers come. Only then the solutions will come. That is what happens when you contemplate. Contemplation is necessary for all of us. All of us need to contemplate about our future, about past or present, and what's going to come in the end. Now, the other question is, when we sit for contemplation, that can trigger another series of thoughts and emotions that may spin us into another level of anxiety, further complicating our thoughts. Yes, it does happen in the beginning. Initially, it may happen for many because if people are extremely anxious, this may happen. That is in the beginning, but when it becomes a pattern that no matter what, tame your mind, tame your thoughts, just okay, one at a time, one at a time. To do all these things, the state that you will get into is a state of witness. Everything has a solution when you are a sakshi. Everything is transcending, you are a witness. Stay calm, contemplate, think. Put your thinking into a state of contemplation. Thinking triggers all these emotional upheavals and downheavals. Now, I would like to take a next step, significance and importance of contemplation. Every invention in the world, every theory of whether physics or biology or chemistry, all these theories, whether it is Newton or Edison or anybody, all the greatest of the scientists, they have got this knowledge one fine moment when they were in a state of contemplation. That is a must. Greatest of the jnana, greatest of the Brahma jnana, greatest of the truth that comes to you, descends to you only when you are in a contemplative state. Anybody for that matter. That eureka moment. He was very much taking a bath in the tub all the time. But one fine day, he got into the tub full of water, and when the water spilled out, the scientist started screaming and saying that Eureka, he found it. Theory of displacement. Every day his life is mundane. He's taking a bath, water is spilling out of the bathtub. But that day he was thinking and thinking and thinking. He was in a contemplative state, immediately it enlightens. So the importance of contemplation. When you are in a meditative state, you are a sakshi. What happens is the enlightenment. And that state is also akin or almost as contemplation. Contemplation is as much as a meditation. How important and significant. When Gautama becomes the Buddha, he was in a long state of contemplation. He practices Hinayana Buddhism. I mean, Hinayana, which is very low, Hina is low, practices like starving, punishing the body, exposing the body to elements deliberately, going through the physical pain, disregarding everything, very disturbed state of mind. And that did not work. When did Buddha stop doing the Hinayana practices? When he contemplated. He spent time with himself. This is not happening. He made the decision that no, this is not a thing which I have to practice. This is not going to give me the enlightenment. How did that thought come? Not out of dejection. It came out of contemplation. Then he said, okay, let me try another. Vajrayana. He pampers himself. He becomes obese. He learns all the tantras, this and that, everything. He's learned everything. He draws the tenets from Kashmiri Shaivism. He becomes extremely powerful as a tantric. Everything. Then he gives it a name Vajrayana Buddhism. Then what happens? He says, this is not going to give me any enlightenment. He gives up. Then finally, he goes to a state of contemplation under the Bodhi Vriksha. Whether you call it meditation, first, before getting into a meditative state, he gets into a state of contemplation. What do I do? What should I be doing? Nothing. Do nothing. Sit quiet. Let me just sit quiet. Let me just sit in a meditative state. Lot of series of thoughts and emotions flow in front of him. He says, I'm witnessing them. Let them go. It is disturbing. Let it go. Let it pass by. Then he attains a state of thoughtless awareness, nirvichara samadhi. Then nirvikalpa, desireless awareness. He doesn't even desire the enlightenment. He just stays in a state of contemplation. Then finally he gets nirvana. Nirvana Sutta, as an experience of nirvana. What is nirvana? He gets enlightened. That is how the contemplation between different paths Buddha practices. There is no other way in our lives if we have to evolve, if we have to move forward. We have to contemplate. Contemplate our own situations, contemplate on our own feelings, thoughts, fears, everything, anxiety, anything that comes, just contemplate. Excitement, contemplate. Why am I like this? Why are my patterns like this? Why is my fear so high? Why is this anxiety in me? What are all the reasons which are causing me these feelings, emotions, anxieties, thoughts? What should I be doing? I am not in a good space. So let me help myself contemplate. Just contemplate. When you sit calm and start applying your thoughts one by one, all the situations, the universe will turn around and say that it makes it pleasant for you. Pleasant not in terms of happiness, euphoria. What you feel adverse turns pleasant. Peace. There will be peace. Second level of contemplation. Another parallel, not second level, parallel way of contemplation. This is one which you do with yourself. Then comes your contemplating in conversation with somebody else. Who that somebody else is. Do not get into a conversation. Do not get into an argument. Do not seek sympathy. Do not seek empathy. Nothing. Excuse me. None of those. But whom do you contemplate with has to be an extremely patient person. You have to contemplate with someone who is a good listener. For that kind of a person to find in this world is very difficult. But there are good listeners. If you go to any of the psychologists or psychiatrists, what do? They hear you out. They ask you to pour your thoughts, emotions out. Then they discuss with you. They counsel you. Okay, psychiatrists may prescribe some medicines, but however, they deal with you, they discuss with you. Nothing is going to happen. Don't worry. Nothing will go wrong. Just relax. Someone who is matured enough to listen, A good listener is the one whom you can contemplate with. Most of us listen to react. If you go to such people, you are getting into a deeper chaos. Best person you can deal with is yourself. People tend to contemplate about any subject which is personal, which is circumstantial, which involves multiple people. You have to contemplate with them. I am not talking about that, about your personal life, your personal realities, individual realities. You cannot expect a person who is in a hurry to impose his ideas, opinions on you. You cannot sit and contemplate with them. You can't. They're not even listeners. They just speak. They want to impose. They hear you out only to reply. A conversation with somebody who is as matured as a good listener will first hear you out, then start exploring the possibility. Such kind of people are pretty scarce in this world. They are not many, not at all. But however, that is another type of contemplation. Third way of contemplation is with the universe. With the universe, you contemplate. Universe, in other words, the Brahman, the supreme consciousness. It is so easy to access, so comfortable to access. It is from within, and that very moment you can connect with. It really works wonders. You just have to put out your thoughts, seek answers, seek clarifications, and you will have to exercise a pinch of patience. Trust me, one fine day you will get an answer to your question. You will get a solution to your situation. Just put out the thought to the Brahman or the whole universe that they call it. Modern day lingo is universe. No God, no Brahman, nothing. They say universe. Fair enough. Whichever name you call by. Put it out. Put it out to the universe. Trust me. Sooner than later, you will get a solution or an answer to your situation. And what is the solution and an answer that we get from the process of contemplation from within is permanent. Opinions vary, situations vary, circumstances vary, what you hear from others vary. Most of the opinions and advices or whatever we get is circumstantial. It's driven by that moment. But when you get an answer from within, you're done. That is permanent. That changes us. That transforms us. That is contemplation. We contemplate, put out our thoughts to the universe. And lastly, contemplate with your Guru. Guru Tattva. You just contemplate keeping your Guru in your attention. You don't have to reach out. You don't have to ask. You don't have to speak. Nothing. The Tattva in the universe, what is a Guru? Who is bringing you from darkness to light, the chaos of darkness that you are in to light. That is the very purpose of Guru Tattva. Just put out a thought. Just put out a thought about your realities and situations or yourself or the emotions or whatever. Whatever the adverse realities that we are faced with or we are in. And sometimes we are not happy with ourselves. Sometimes we are not happy with the way we suffer due to our thoughts and emotions, feelings, fears, so many things. Put it out to your Guru. What is Guru always waiting for? Is for you to sit, calm down. Just imagine you're communicating with someone. There are a lot of other voices in between. Neither the person who's listening can hear, nor you can communicate properly. You'll start screaming, you'll start trying to make others calm down or maintain certain amount of silence and lot of chaos which comes in between. So the whole purpose is defeated. Communication itself doesn't happen. That's exactly what happens with your thoughts and emotions, everything coming in between, fears, anxiety, this and that. When you're contemplating with your guru, stay calm. Let these come. Stick to the point. Contemplate with your guru. Keep your guru in your conscience or in your thoughts. Your attention is on your guru. Just put it out. Baba has very clearly said, lucky that we Saipanthis, whoever seeks my advice, they shall get it instantaneously. Whoever seeks my advice and help, they'll get it instantaneously. It doesn't take time. But pinch of patience, be devoid of all these obstacles that come in your way. Have a just contemplative question. You contemplate with your guru in your thoughts. That's the best. Trust me, that's the best. Whatever you have in your mind, instantaneously you get the relief for. Contemplation is the only way we can progress. When we are in a contemplative state, or our character or our pattern becomes always a contemplation, you will attain a sense of spiritual maturity. You will pause before you react. Contemplation becomes a pattern in you. It becomes you. It's one of your virtues, one of your characteristics, that whatever happens, you are in a contemplative state. You think through, yes. That gives us the spiritual maturity. What is the difference between someone who is there restless and reacting and, reacting or speaking back or replying, listening only to reply, than someone who will reason out? The ones who sit and reason out and talk it out are respected more because they are spiritually matured. We get into a state of spiritual maturity. Maturity comes out of contemplation. Inventions come out of contemplation. Enlightenment comes out of contemplation. Everything depends on contemplation, different types of contemplations. Contemplate with ourselves, contemplate with others who are matured. You will have to identify such people or good listeners. Contemplate with the whole universe. Contemplate with your guru. Contemplation is a solution to most of the worldly problems that we are faced with. Right? I have used this word quite a lot, contemplation, but trust me, it is the most, and rather it is the only way to progress with prudence, spiritual prudence. See, for example, I've always spoken about the Sapta Rishis who were at the foothills of Kailasha, and then they wanted to understand the whole universe, Brahma Jnana, whatever. What did they do? They sat and contemplated amongst themselves. From within the universe, they found an answer. Today, the whole human race has an answer, has evolved, thanks to the contemplative process of those Sapta Rishis who did at the foothills of Kailash. So everything depends on contemplation. It is such a beautiful, such a powerful tool to even evolve and dissolve. Contemplate, right? These are the few words on contemplation. Right. Thanks for your patient hearing. Sairam there.